Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all different age, races, ethnicities, colors, welcome back to the Chiesty Boys Podcast. My name is Jacob McKendry. As always, I am here with my co-host, Mr.
David Martinez. What's up, everybody?
What's up, man? And now, the new guy, Jacob Lewandowski.
It's a pleasure as always.
Welcome
pleasure
to the podcast.
as always, boys.
Welcome, good sir.
It's good to be here.
Some of you guys remember we had him on for an episode last year, actually. Ended up moving in with the man, so he's now my roommate. Figured we need to find someone who knows ball, knows what they're talking about, studies their life on it. So, right alluded to the podcast. He's happily accepted our invite. So, you will be seeing the three of us for over the next few months, bringing you guys content from anything Bears related to all types of Chicago sports. Really just having fun. And, yeah. So, boys, how's life been? How have you been? Good?
Oh, we're fantastic here. We're happy to be talking about football again.
About time.
Yeah. Definitely. Long 8 months.
Dude, especially like having to deal with just strictly just this baseball season, like the last 2 to 3 months.
Lord.
It's been tough.
Terrible.
It's tough. It's
terrible.
Tough. But yeah, damn. I guess let's just kick it off. So 2023, a pretty crazy year in sports. I mean, what Celtics finally pulled through?
Oh yeah, after a couple seasons of just choking, just flatlining in the playoffs, they finally pulled one out after the 4th year. I'm happy for them.
Kieran finally getting his blessing.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, our boy Kieran, he was actually, I believe, did we bring him on?
Yeah, he was on.
Brought him on. Diehard Celtics fan, has had to witness them go to the finals and lose multiple years in a row. So they finally were able to pull that off. Good for them. I mean, like I said, it took long enough. They finally had the team to do it. Coach definitely came in handy as well. So, I mean, at the end of the day, they ended up working out for them. And then, of course, we have to discuss the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, right?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, the Chiefs in the bowl, it was the move everyone didn't want to happen, but you just kind of saw it coming. And then the whole Taylor Swift addition to everything now with Travis Kelce, it was memorable for them. So at the end of the day, I'm not a huge Mahomes Chiefs fan, but congrats on the 2 in a row, and let's see if they can make it 3.
Do we think so they're going for a 3-peat this year. Do we think they're already at dynasty status already?
The thing is, a lot of people don't recognize with the Chiefs is they're doing it with not as much talent as they started with. You have to think they started with a young Travis Kelce, a young Tyreek Hill, a lot of defensive options. But now we're going on an older Travis Kelce, no Tyreek Hill. You got guys stepping up like Justin Watson, Martavis Valdez-Scantling.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they jump over obstacles very easily, and it's very impressive for a team.
And even this year, I mean, going in, you got a lot of young dudes on that team that, you know, they're expecting to perform. I mean, they bring in Xavier Worthy, obviously famous for breaking the 40-yard dash record. Him pairing him up with, you know, Rashee Rice, Kelce, Noah Gray, good backup tight end, Isaiah Pacheco, solid running back. I mean, if their offense can make it happen and these young guys prove themselves, I mean, they can hit that dynasty.
Marquise Brown, too.
Marquise Brown,
out for sure.
Injured at the moment.
He's out for a little bit, yeah, but, you know, he's going to come back. Do you guys think that Xavier Worthy is going to be sustainable with his small frame? I mean, he's quick, but he's definitely got to put some pounds on, right? Or do you think his speed is going to be able to help him alone just be successful?
I think so. Like, I think his speed is a factor, even if he's not, like, the consistent target. Whenever you have someone who's running like a 4.22, you got to have someone on him, you know, automatically based off of speed alone. In my opinion, personally, I think that the real thing for the Chiefs that they're going to need to prove themselves with is that defensive side of the ball. I mean, we got to remember they just lost L'Jarius Sneed, one of the best safeties in the NFL, to the Titans. You know, if that secondary can hold up against, you know, the strong AFC teams, that I think is going to be the dynasty breaker for them.
Yeah. I mean, shit. I mean, regardless, you have a $500 million quarterback on your team who arguably some they would call the GOAT. But, I mean, I'm not saying anything until he gets anywhere near Brady's 7 Super Bowls. So, I guess we'll see what happened with them. And then,
Jacob, before we move on, I do want to say Xavier Worthy, although he play with Adai Mitchell, he's not the best catcher, but someone like that with that great of speed really is a deep threat and opens the field up for someone like Travis Kelce, a spot catcher, someone who's looking for the ball underneath.
No,
so, sure. You know, if you have a guy who's running 4.2, chances are you're going to have to double them, and chances are other people are going to be open.
I can't cover him. That's for sure.
No doubt.
So we're thinking he's going to cook then probably. Or are we to think he's just going to open up more opportunities?
He's a target in fantasy.
A great role player, at least.
For sure. And I mean, especially with Mahomes' arm, I guess there's any given time he could spaz off. So.
And a playbook like Andy Reid, he's going to be using wild plays to get him involved. Nevertheless, one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Yeah, you're right. And then the Michigan boys.
Love to see that. Maize and
No.
blue.
No. I mean, okay.
Are you mad because they ran all over your team, or?
I mean, it is what it is. Ohio State, we were a little bit rocky. Like I said, we'll give it to y'all this year, But once this playoff format starts to open up, we have another opportunity, man. I feel confident, but I mean, nonetheless, your boys were good. Like a running game with Corum, Donovan Edwards. Your boy JJ, who's actually now out for the year, which is really brutal for the Vikings.
Sorry, Connor.
I mean, they played well. I mean, I can't even hate as much as I dislike them.
Hey, I would say this Michigan team was probably best rushing college football team this decade. I'll say that.
I'd have to agree. Blake Corum is a solid back, and I'm excited to see him reunited with his college football coach in Los Angeles. That's going to be pretty interesting. But now let me ask you, do you feel like Michigan losing Harbaugh is going to play a factor moving forward? Like, with their new head coach and stuff, do you think he can make this happen?
You actually got to think they played a couple games without Harbaugh last year. Some people like to say Harbaugh was a cheater and he didn't play fair. He's a great man. He's a great coach and even greater father. And I want to mention that they played 2 to 3 games without him last year. The offensive coordinator stepped up in a big way. One of those games, I believe, was the first round of the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. They played without Harbaugh.
It was.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No,
it
was. I mean, dude, he's getting $16 million a year as the Chargers head coach, bro.
That's disgusting.
$16 million annually. So it's like, I mean, you can't even hate on him for taking that money. But do I think they're going to be worse? I mean, it's probably going to be weird in terms of chemistry and the locker room vibe for the first few weeks. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you still have all – I don't know if any hefty D1 or, like, 5-star recruits, I should say, have left them yet. But, I mean, I think they have just such a good core foundation that they're probably going to be just as good as they were last year. I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to be better, but I think they'll be on par to make the playoffs again probably because, at the end of the day, you still had all those juniors and sophomores who didn't have their chance to shine, and they probably will this year with some of the seniors gone. So Donovan Edwards, even behind Blake Corum, he's going to be a stud this year too because now that Corum's off to the NFL.
Scored 3 touchdowns in the.
That's what I'm saying. He's still going to be a dog as well. So I guess we'll see what happens to them. But yeah, I mean, crazy year in terms of 2023 sports championships, all of that. But I mean, crazy NFL offseason, huh?
Oh, insane!
So many different additions, so many different losses for teams, rule changes. That's a big one. How do you guys feel about the new kickoff rule change?
I mean, I got to be honest, from what I've seen so far, like it's a small sample size, so I don't want to give like my official review on it yet, but I think they're going in the right direction of just like wanting more action on those kickoffs, making them exactly more dynamic. Just the fact that the ball being in play, like anywhere in that zone, they have to, get that return going. And that's nice to see. I mean, we all love seeing Devin Hester return kicks and everything, you know what I mean? But, we need to get back to that for sure.
And we really got to focus on the fact that they're doing this to make this a safer place to play football. We love to see all our favorite competitors, all our favorite athletes out there playing every day. And those full-on, full-speed hits some people are taking. I know you guys remember Johnny Knox. My man Johnny Knox was folded up into a suitcase.
Flag on the play.
Oh,
Dude,
no.
Flag on the play.
Okay, so this is
how could you challenge because he was contacted by a high-speed hit?
Let me explain what we have going on. So we have these flags here. We each allow 2 flags per episode. Whenever you disagree with a point, which is crazy how you're disagreeing with some guy who literally got suitcased, you throw the flag and you make a counterpoint. Now, David, this is your opportunity to make your counterpoint.
I'm disagreeing on the fact that you even bring that man's name up like that. When you bring up Johnny Knox, number 13, you say that name with honor, with dignity, with respect.
He was with the team for 2-3 seasons, I will say that.
And he could have been one of the best.
He was a dog, for sure. The injury itself was pretty fucking disgusting.
I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying. The the point is, we're trying to stop these injuries. We're trying to stop full speed contact hits. Those hits that people take so hard that they're not even able to play again after some of these hits.
You mean to tell me you don't like the wedge, dude, when the 5-6 guys would form up and you have the one dude just fucking run like full force into like 4 or 5 guys?
That's dangerous.
I mean,
That's what makes football, man.
I love violence as much as the next guy, but hey, we want to keep the sport going. We can't lose all the guys before the game starts.
I respect
I agree.
I respect
I
it.
agree.
respect it.
Also, I just want to address this is a safe space for animals. We're joined with the 4th Chiesty boy here,
Yes, sir.
Bosco. He's
Yes,
going to be
sir.
dipping in and out. He has anxiety. He's here with the boys.
So
All right.
show him love.
And look forward to his segment coming up soon. His picks. He'll have picks every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night. Check for those around 5 p.m. CST.
All right, we still got to talk about it more in the contract, but yeah, I mean, you're in for now. You're
got
good.
it.
You're a good guy. But yeah, I mean, I think the whole not the field goal thing, the kickoff rule is going to be pretty interesting because right now it's not really popping off in preseason. I haven't seen too many crazy returns. I mean, I was a really big fan of the traditional kickoff, but ever since they moved it up to the 35, I think it was a 35-yard line, and they were just touchback after touchback after touchback, they had to try and change something. So, I mean, as far as I know, I think all of these special teams coordinators were the ones who designed this and tried to make it foolproof to where no one's getting hurt, but there's still action going on. So I guess we'll see more what it's going to look like in the regular season. What's interesting now is how they're not really implementing too many different crazy kicks into it, which I'm sure they're going to figure out, like ways to squib it, ways to like high kick it to where they can either get like a turnover or something of that matter. But I think the coordinators are definitely waiting to deploy that when the season actually starts as opposed to
Exactly.
preseason right now. But right now, I'm not going to lie, it doesn't look the greatest. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll make adjustments to it because they've been changing the rule pretty frequently ever since it came into play. But, yeah.
So now I want to ask you guys, so this offseason, obviously the draft, a lot of free agent signings. In your guys' opinion, Lou, we could start off with you. Lou,
Sure.
Who do you think is coming out of this offseason as a winner?
You mean by team?
By team.
Absolutely. I would say 2 teams that come to mind. Atlanta is definitely – we got to talk about what Atlanta did in the offseason. Then we have to talk about what Atlanta has done in the last 2 weeks. They are
Ain't that the truth?
constantly improving their team. They start by adding not only 1 but 2 competitive quarterbacks. They had a solid second receiver to match Drake London's energy. Multiple linemen they've added. But in the last 2 weeks, we see them go make moves that turn bad teams to good teams. You go get a very talented Matthew Judon.
Yes, sir.
And then even to back it up, you go get Justin Simmons, who's played with Jesse Bates. So they have that chemistry.
And I got to agree with you, man. Like,
It's
seeing
fantastic.
that Matthew Judon trade was like that moment where people in Atlanta were like, okay, like they have a plan. Because I feel like people were very upset with that Michael Penix pick because it's like, okay, we're drafting a guy for the future, but it also seems like we're trying to build a win now team. And them recognizing like, yes, we do need another edge rusher. We do need a key player on defense. Boom, get Matthew Judon for a 3rd round pick. And he's perfectly content. I saw him post on social media and the news press the other day. He even said, I haven't proven this team anything, so I need to show him. So he's already content with not getting his extension right now.
Did you see how the Bears actually matched their exact offer and
Yep.
he got to pick which team he went to and he chose Atlanta?
Questionable on that. I would normally flag on the play that one, but I got one left. So.
I feel like he's more of a player that fits Raheem Morris' style, you know? Just very downhill style playing.
For sure.
He's a dog.
Yeah, but damn, dude, if he somehow would have ended up on that defensive line across from fucking Sweat, that would have been so nasty.
It would have been nice, but I feel like we still got something cooking.
Okay,
for
so
that. We'll see.
Falcons were your first team. Second team, you think improved?
Second team, I'm probably going to have to go with the Tennessee Titans. I mean, I know DeAndre Hopkins gone for 6 weeks. That's a huge loss.
Yeah.
But they made moves this offseason to acquire very strong role players who will fill the void for the 6 weeks. You have to think Calvin Ridley, fast route runner. He's really the opposite dynamic compared to DeAndre. Fast, small, speedy, where DeAndre is really a go up and get it type of guy. You get Tony Pollard, who can do the best of both worlds, run the ball and catch the ball. We saw him catch multiple touchdown passes from Dak last year. And then like I said, it's all about making those smaller moves.
Literally. And let's
And-
not forget they got Tyler Boyd too on that team now.
Oh,
too.
they got Tyler Boyd.
Tyler
They
Boyd.
do, yeah.
Yes, sir.
They got actually quite a few players.
That actually shows me, like, are the Titans, like, do you feel like they're trying to do a team where they could see what Will Levis is made out of?
I think ideally, yeah. I mean, well, D-Hop's going to be out for the first few weeks of the season because I know he's hurt.
Yep.
But I think Levis kind of showed some flashes last year towards the end of the season. So I think putting all these weapons around him, good receiving back in Pollard. Tajay Spears, I think, is going to be kind of an X factor in the offense too. I think they're going to be a really nice, good duo running back crew. But I mean, yeah, I think they're trying to give him a good opportunity to show what he's made of, and adding someone like Calvin Ridley, who was a wide receiver 1 on the Jaguars when he was healthy, and a Tyler Boyd, who's just been a good, solid wide receiver 3 with the Bengals for the past few years.
Solid.
Good slot receiver.
Couple other players too. L'Jarius Sneed, great cornerback, possibly top 5 cornerback in the league right now.
He's right up there.
Lloyd Cushenberry. It's like a lot of role playing guys. Lloyd Cushenberry, great guard. Played for a couple teams now, but
I'll take him over Nate
fantastic.
Davis.
Sebastian
But-
Joseph Day, good defensive tackle. Played with the Rams last year. Played with the Chargers for a little bit. All about role players to get you going.
Absolutely. Jacob, what about you? Who do you think's a winner coming out of the offseason?
I mean, come on now. Should I just go with the obvious and just say it? I think
We all
I'm
know.
going to say the Chicago Bears here.
Bears, man.
They're down.
In terms of just the draft and the offseason and all of the above, I feel like they hit home runs in multiple different categories, but one of the biggest names that I had down was Keenan Allen. Going to be absolutely huge in that offense, especially with drafting Rome at number 9 out of Washington, and of course, number 18, Mr. Caleb Williams. I think Keenan's going to be really crucial in terms of keeping those routes thin in between the markers, those little slant routes, little cut routes, the routes that no one wants to do because they're afraid to get hit. He's been doing this for, I think it's 11, 12 years now. He's been doing it for a long time. So he's going to be a really crucial addition for that team. And on the defensive end, Kevin Byard replacing Eddie Jackson.
Love that.
I think him and Brisker kind of have the same mentality where they're both ball hawks in the sense, that they'll go up and grab it, but at the same time, they'll run downhill and lay someone out if they got to do it as well. So we're going to talk more about this team in a little bit and get more into the details about how we feel about everything. But needless to say, I'm pretty damn excited about all the additions that they made, and I think they're in a really good position moving forward. So,
What about you, David?
Definitely. For me, this is tough. There were a few teams that I was thinking about mentioning in this one. For me, I got to mention the Philadelphia Eagles. You know what I mean? The Eagles already had a dynamic team last year. They kind of fizzled out on offense. They struggled a lot on defense, especially towards the second half of the season last year, that huge losing streak. But, they had DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift, a great running back now with the Bears. But you can't deny that an offense has just absolutely changed when you add someone like Saquon Barkley. Like, you add Saquon Barkley, that run game with Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Dallas, like, it's going to be insane. I'm really excited to also see Kenneth Gainwell and how he kind of eats back and forth with Saquon. I think Kenneth Gainwell is actually going to do pretty decent compared to how he did last year. So I'm excited to see this Eagles offense. And they did great in the draft, drafting guys like Cooper DeJean, getting C.J. Gardner-Johnson back as well in the secondary. That was huge for them. Obviously, they're taking a loss, losing Jason Kelsey, but you still have and Fletcher Cox. But overall, I think the additions they made are going to keep them competitive in a tough division.
So,
do you think first and goal, you think they're going to keep the tush push as a thing? Or now that Kelsey's gone, you think they're going to be more susceptible to run it to Saquon, who obviously can jump over and do whatever he has to do without worrying about getting hurt? Because obviously the quarterback is the most important part of your team. And granted, Hurts scored so many times on that play last year. Do you think that's still going to be a consistent thing? Or do you think they're going to change that up and let Saquon be the main guy like on the one?
I feel like they are going to do some different schemes, especially now that you have a guy like Saquon. You could definitely do like a wildcat with Saquon as well. I'm interested to see what they draw up. But in all honesty, they're not getting rid of the tush push. Like, it works too well on that team. Yeah, they lost Jason, but they still retained like most of their O-line, guys like Lane Johnson, all those guys. So tush push is still going to be a thing, Lou. I think you can agree with that.
yeah, I can definitely agree. when you got a guy such as the dynamic as Jalen Hurts, especially with the legs, you got to take advantage. And like you said, they're bringing back, I would say, at least three,
Three.
possibly even four of the starters from the.
Yeah,
I don't believe they lost anyone besides Jason
I'm
Kelce.
pretty sure.
And a team that knows how to draft well brings in a lot of young talent. I could see them still running the ball effectively, especially on that goal line.
Now, guys, we've been talking about the winners here. Now, real quick, Jacob, I want you to kick us off. Going into this season, who do you think's a loser?
The Giants. I mean, have we? I guess we've all watched Hard Knocks, right? And just like how incompetent their front office was with the whole Saquon situation in general. Like he wanted to be back, and Joe Sheen, their GM, wasn't willing to hit a certain number to have him back. And even in the draft, with the position they were at with the sixth pick, I understand you needed a receiver and Neighbors, and you just gave Daniel Jones this big contract, but you had an opportunity to land a fairly good quarterback in a really quarterback heavy draft. Now, I know a lot, like I said, a lot of things kind of got in the way with that contract, and it's more difficult. It's easier said than done, essentially. But I think they could have changed the quarterback role. They could have done a lot of different things. I mean, you brought in Devin Singletary, I believe is now their RB1.
Yes.
So it's like you're going from Barkley to Singletary. I just don't think Jones is going to be the answer moving forward. And quite frankly, I don't know why they gave him that much money. Don't get me wrong, Malik Neighbors is going to be a dog for sure. I mean, some of the preseason catches I've seen him make, he looks already in midseason form, so they're going to be great. But the franchise, I feel like, is always just middle of the road to back end. I mean, this is saying coming from a Bears fan right now too. With all due respect, I love my team, but it's like I feel like they cannot figure it out, and it's tough for them. I think they are going to be bottom 10 in the league this year. That's one of my losers of the offseason.
I can agree with that for the most part. I mean, you can't forget they also lost Xavier McKinney, great safety, now on the Packers of all teams. Thanks a lot.
Gotta go.
But I got to bring up, like, yes, they did add a great receiver to their team in the draft. I think he is going to have a great year. Personally, I mean, he's going to be Daniel Jones' number one target. I think he's going to put some production up there. We also can't forget their interior D line is up there with one of the best in the league. When you make a massive trade like that, you get a guy like Brian Burns in there. I think he's going to be a playmaker for years to come on that team. And I will say, I mean, they did sign a couple people to the offensive line. You know, they have the building blocks in place. They have that number one wide receiver who, if they go in a different direction with Daniel Jones, could pair up with him. And, you know, I think they have a couple pieces that can work for him.
Do you think Daniel Jones is a sustainable NFL quarterback as of right now?
I mean, he's coming off the injury. I mean, the crazy thing is their roster, like, in certain places it got worse, in certain places it got better. They made it to the second round of the playoffs not too long ago. You know what I mean? A couple of years ago. So sustainable, maybe not, but clearly they have some dynamic. I mean, you could argue it was Saquon, but I think they still have some dynamic kind of playmakers on that team now.
What do you think?
I think you don't give Daniel Jones as much credit as he deserves. The guy is played with Darius Slayton as his wide receiver one most of his career. Really, no one. They've tried to go get players. I mean, for example, Darren Waller. They had Evan Ingram for a while. They try to go get players who will help, but it seems like the talent around him has never been effective enough to show what he can do. Hence why he's always taking off and running it and ultimately running into injury problems because there's a reason why they call him the White Lamar Jackson. You know, the guy's got wheels.
He's pretty quick.
He's quick.
He's quick, but he takes a lot of hits, and I do believe it's because he can't find anyone. He's looking at his first option.
Not great receiver.
Then his second option, third option, I gotta go. You know, gotta get out the pocket, make a play. I do believe with the talent, with Malik Neighbors, he'll have better stats than he's had before. And, you know, Malik Neighbors is a step up from truly anyone he's played with.
I gotta agree. Hasn't even played an NFL snap, and I can agree.
Like, if you're throwing the ball to Darius Slayton, like, every season.
Yeah. No, I would agree.
Now, Lou, who do you consider a loser this offseason?
Honestly, I'm surprised Jake didn't say this. The biggest loser has to be the Chargers by far. When you go from a wide receiving core of Keenan Allen and Mike Williams with an Austin Eckler at running back, Look at who's playing those positions now.
Who is their RB1, dude?
Their RB1's Joshua Kelly.
Joshua Kelly.
Joshua Kelly's
They also
got to be
signed
there.
JK.
Oh, they signed Brian.
No, Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards.
Gus
that's who it
Edwards.
was.
Yeah.
They signed
Ravens.
Gus Edwards, so that'll help a little bit.
Corum.
But Gus Edwards doesn't. Corum plays for the Rams. I'm pretty sure.
Corum's on the Rams
Oh,
with,
yes.
with Kieran Williams. I know
You're
this
correct.
because I took him as a handcuff in one of the fantasy leagues yesterday.
So they're going to lose that receiving option out of the running back.
Okay.
And then you got Johnson from TCU,
Lane
And-
McConkey.
Lad McConkey, and Josh Palmer.
Yeah, so we got Herbert, QB1, RB, Gus Edwards, wide receiver 1, Josh Palmer, wide receiver 2, Lad McConkey, wide receiver 3, Chark, tight end is Will Dissly. Offensive line doesn't look too bad. You got Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater is pretty decent, Zion Johnson, Bradley Bozeman, and Trey Pipkins.
So from what you're saying, they had replacements at tight end, wide receiver 1, 2, 3, and running back. Every role position, not the same person.
And a name you didn't even mention on there. Did they just waste that first round pick last year with Quentin Johnson?
Yeah, where is he?
He had an
at?
absolutely
He
horrible
is-
season last year. And
He's a bum. He's listed as wide receiver 4 on this chart right
Oh
now.
no!
gosh.
So, I mean, and for him to go, I mean, what pick was he? He was top 20. I
he
think,
was
for
top.
sure.
He was top 20 for sure.
Yeah, dude, that guy's going to be, I mean, we'll
He got
see.
taken right after Zay. Right
We'll
after Zay Flowers.
I mean,
Oh,
but
yeah.
then again, this is why, like we just talked about, we were talking about Michigan a little bit ago. This is why you pay a coach $16 million to fucking come in and try and change shit. But with this roster, I think it's going to take some time. I mean, and he stated vocally that he wants to stay committed to the run, which they probably should do with this receiving core. But yeah, I mean, maybe if he's able to come in, change the culture, they have, and we could see what happens in a few years. But as for that, I think you're already in a division with the Chiefs, man. So it's like there's really just no chance at that. I mean, do we think they're better than the Raiders too? No, probably not.
No,
Not
I would
anymore.
take
not
them.
anymore.
Denver, I think it's a coin toss maybe to see what happens with Bo Nix and what
They do
They
have
got
a
a better
great
receiver.
defense, though.
I would say. So yeah, they're arguably 3 and 4 in that division. If you're 3 and 4 in any division, you're not gonna. There's really no chance that you're gonna make the. I mean, it's gonna be tough to make the wild card too, especially with all the hefty AFC teams. But yeah, dude, I don't know why I didn't think of that one either. That's just they lost so many goddamn good premium positions.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for Hardball. It's going to be tough for Hardball to rebuild, but like you said, that's why you bring in a top-notch head coach.
But
Definitely.
like I was talking about earlier, one of my teams I feel like improved that we can kind of dissect a little bit more into is the Chicago fucking Bears, man. David, I'll let you kind of kick this off, and we'll kind of just say how we feel, what preseason hype, how we feel about Williams, bunch of concerns, comments, questions that you have. What floor is yours? Go ahead.
Something I haven't felt in a while, a love like this that's really come back into your life again. You know what I mean? I still remember that day, watching, that team go up for that field goal, take us to the next round of the playoffs, and Cody Parkey hits you with the duh, and it's over. But now feels like a new era is coming to the Bears. You know what I mean? Seeing the hype around this team building up. I mean, our phones, we were blowing each other up this offseason. Like, oh my God, did you see we just traded for Keenan Allen? Like, no way, we just drafted Romo Dunze. Like, the moves we're making right now have truly never been done in this franchise's history. Chef Poles, he's cooking up a 5-star meal, and I'm feasting. So I'm excited for this season, man. I mean, Hard Knocks, everything. It's been awesome. I'm excited to see the Bears play football, man.
Do you think we believe the preseason hype around Williams, or the fact that he's playing like second, third stringers, or are we full just fucking like giddy?
I think he looks fantastic. I think his out of the pocket skills are amazing. I'm not 100% bought in. I want to see him play a full game. But what I am bought in on is this Chicago Bears monster of the midway defense.
Yeah.
And what I'm bought in on is that they're playing as a team, not individuals. Everyone's coming together, and this defense is looking impenetrable. And I'm sure you guys can agree. Jalen Johnson might be up for Defensive Player of the Year this year.
He's a dog. He was dogging Burrow the other day when they had that joint practice. They said he
Yeah.
had like 2 interceptions on him.
And you saw what Keenan said. Keenan can't catch anything on him. Keenan says he tries every day, can't catch
Dude,
anything.
that man deserves way more credit than he's given. He's outside the NFL's top 100,
You know
right?
what, everyone? Let's all throw a flag on the play
Right,
for that one.
that's horseshit.
Come on.
It's voted on by your peers too, and what was it, 4 interceptions last year, career high, first time Pro Bowler. They said the average catch rate on him was 33.5%. The NFL average, I believe, was 66. So like you're cutting that into thirds, and I mean, I don't see a world how he didn't end up on that list. He deserved the contract that he got. Frankly, I'm happy that they got that done.
Definitely.
But I mean, he makes that defense gel. Usually, you would say it's a middle linebacker. When Roquan was here, he was kind of the one that connected the whole defense. But it seems like Jalen brings that aura. You know what I'm saying? He brings that swag, that confidence that our defense has been rolling with and will roll with for the foreseeable future. You know, because we have a lot of these guys locked up for a while. But the defensive end of the ball is going to be really fun to watch too. But it's just like it's kind of hard to not be fascinated about number 18 and some of the shit that he's done in preseason.
Caleb Williams.
Watching that man roll out to his left and contort his body and throw it 45 yards into the breadbasket of Rome Odunze is something that I haven't seen a Bears quarterback do ever. And yeah, it's preseason. Yes, I'm getting my hopes up, but that's just me being a Chicago Bears fan at the end of the day. And this guy is looking like what they were scouting him for months ago when we found out he was going to get the first pick. And frankly, all of these scouts knew something and saw something in him that clearly the general public couldn't see. Now, he did have a bad game against Notre Dame, yes. Paints his nails, yes. He cries on his mom's shoulders, yes. I don't care what this man does. If he goes out there on a Sunday and balls out and brings wins to this franchise and what we all want, a Super Bowl, he can do whatever the hell he wants, in my opinion. Now, the one thing that kind of makes me a little bit concerned is the connection between the offensive line and the inability to solidify that right guard spot. Nate Davis, obviously, has been on and off. The guy, I feel like, barely fucking practices with the team. I mean, over the past week or so, he's been in practices a little bit more often. They've been trying to get him in that spot. But Eberflus even let that be known to the public that, hey, just because you might get hurt or there's an injury doesn't mean you can't lose your starting position. And I think that was a direct call out to him. Do we think that the O-line is something that we should be concerned about when we have this big of a quarterback and this franchise guy?
You know, Nate Davis, like something about his face. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, bro, like when I saw him get signed, like I looked at his face and I was like, this is giving me Lucas Patrick vibes. Like, I don't like where this is heading.
This guy had an absolute hate for Lucas Patrick.
Lucas Patrick is a bum. He will never come on the podcast. He's not welcome back. It was bad. And Nate Davis, we need to solidify this O-line. We need to have our guys, like in here ready to go. You know what I mean? And if we don't get that put together, it could lead to problems down the line for Caleb. So
there just needs to be a sense of continuity. Like, granted, I think from left to right, it's going to be Braxton. You're going to have Tevin at left guard. It's looking like Coleman Shelton at center.
Yep.
Ideally, I want Nate Davis at that right guard spot because he plays pretty well when he's on the field, but he's just not on there enough. It's going to be either him or Ryan Bates at that right guard position and Darnell Wright. So, I mean, I think Darnell Wright, I love. Tevin Jenkins is my guy.
Savage.
And I think Braxton Jones, who was a 4th-round pick 3 years ago, is in a really good position right now to where he's earned that job. So, I mean, I think 3 out of the 5 positions are really solidified. Now, obviously, what comes down to the center position is Coleman Shelton, but he started 17 games for the Rams last year, who were pretty decent in the pass game as far as I'm concerned.
Rams had pretty good team.
So, like, that's going to be another interesting thing to, pay attention to as the first few games, essentially, because, Caleb's got to be out and about right out the gate, man. Like, we can't be holding anything back because we have concerns about our line. But I really hope that ends up fixing itself.
Now, Lou, real quick, I wanted to ask you brought up our defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that D-line is ready to go?
Do I feel like the D-line's ready to go? Some parts of it. I believe Sweat's ready. I believe Dexter's ready. But we really need to figure out who's going to play that other end position. But honestly, watching these preseason games, you can see we have a lot of talent there. It just someone needs to explode and someone needs to come out and claim the position. You got guys like Booker, young guys, rookies. You got vets of the team, Walker. Someone just has to go out there and take the position for themselves. But I like what I see. We've been stopping the rush all preseason, and all levels, first string, second string, third string, all playing competitive and all playing tough.
That's the biggest thing I noticed is even with all of our like backups that we bring in, the defense is still just locked down. Like you said, first string, second string, third string, it didn't matter. Like they were all absolutely cooking. So, and I mean, and like you mentioned, Austin Booker, this guy he's got raw freak ability. He just needs to fine tune some of the things, and I really think he has the potential to be a really good player. Obviously, all of the talent he's going against is backup second strings, but I mean, 2.5 sacks in a game, with an opportunity to get 4 from what I've saw, it should be really interesting. And I mean, the fact that he's a 5th-round pick, and if you're able to start on a team as a 5th-round pick, the amount of money that we're saving from the business end is huge, and it's pivotal. And it's money that we wouldn't have to look to spend on a 1st-round pick or a free agent next year if this guy really comes out and puts on you guys remember Mark Anderson? His rookie season, 12 sacks, dude. Like, if I see something like that, then I'm super content with locking him into that spot going into next season.
Now, before we move on from the Bears talk, get into the final segment of our show, we're going to do a quick record prediction for the Bears. So we're just going to go through the games real quick, keep track of your wins and losses, and we'll see what our prediction is and see if one of us is right at the end of the season. How about that?
Gotcha.
All right. Week 1, Tennessee Titans, home game. What do you guys think?
I think we come out with a win. Come out with a win. A lot of the reason because D-Hop, they're also in a similar position to us where they replaced a lot of their role players a lot of people coming into a new system. I think we'll be able to get the upper hand, better offense.
Jacob?
Should be a win. According to Pro Football Focus, it's supposed to be our easiest game on the schedule. So do I think it's going to be an absolute cakewalk? No, probably not, because even though Caleb is that guy and we know he's going to be that guy, all rookies have their hiccups, and I'm sure he's going to have a few in that game. But if he has the ability to adjust like he did in the most recent preseason game and lead them down in scoring drives at the end of the first half, I have full confidence in them. And it's the defense alone should be enough to really contain them because, like I said, Hopkins is going to be out. Really just got to focus on Ridley now. It'll be interesting to see Pollard in there as well, but I think that's a W. I'm going to go W on that one.
Week 2. All right, so all three of us W on that one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Going into week 2, personal favorite game of the season for me, most anticipated. Bosco will agree with me.
Oh, yeah. Sunday
Night Football, week 2, Houston Texans. I'll be there live and direct. For me, I'm going to go with a loss on this one. Most likely, I think.
That's fair.
I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be probably in that 28 to 21 region. But for right now, I think Houston, they have a little bit more compatibility, a little bit more experience with the home field advantage. I'm going to say a loss.
I'm going to say a loss as well. Like I said, a team that was really looking good on offense at the end of the last year, who's coming in with even more talent. A lot of their younger players progressing. I'd say it's a loss. It's going to be a hard lesson for the defense, but we get through it. I'm going to go loss.
We're just going to go. I'm going to stay with you guys on this one. I think it's going to be a really entertaining game. I think it's going to be Caleb's coming out party to where he uses all 3 receivers to his advantage, and we see a lot of touchdowns, a lot of points, but at the same time, Texans are solidified. With the addition of Joe Mixon, too, is one of my sleepers in fantasy right now. We'll discuss more about that next week.
Mix it up.
I think it's going to be a close game. I would, if I had to pick it, I think the Texans win probably like 31-24 would be my guess on that. So that's a loss for all of us.
Okay. Week 3, Indianapolis Colts away game. I'm personally going to go with a win. I mean, I don't really need to go too much in depth. I think the Colts are trash. Not looking forward to watching them play it all this season. Pretty bad team overall.
I'm going to go win as well. I don't think they're as bad as you make them out to be, while athletic players, but we're going to take that home.
Should be a pretty easy W. Who knows? Jonathan Taylor, and when Jonathan Taylor's healthy, he does pretty crazy things. Anthony Richardson still coming off an injury as of last year, still laboring from that, but I think our defense is once again just the top 5 rush defense last year. With a few additions that we made, I really don't think they stand a chance against us. I think we win, and we win pretty convincingly in that game. So
Okay. 2-1 so far. We're all in agreement. Wins, losses.
mm-hmm.
Week 4, Los Angeles Rams home game. Me personally, I'm going to take this game as a win. I think this is going to be a win. Puka Nacua, he's battling a little mild knee injury. Got to see if that lingers on with him throughout the season. Overall, I think the Bears historically play pretty well against the Rams. And I think our offense is just going to kind of overpower them, throw them into the ground, and we're going to get this W at Soldier Field.
I wish I could say I thought a win, but I'm going to have to go loss on this one. You're bringing veteran players in the Soldier Field. Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, although I do think
players.
Are they not?
Would
Would you like to throw your flag?
No, I already threw both of them. So
now you're out.
You're out of the flag.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Those are veteran players, believe it or not. Matt Stafford, been in the league for a decade plus.
Matt Stafford's a dog, okay?
We get it. Loss. We get it.
Matt Stafford is the dog. I don't really know. It's a tough one. I'm gonna go with the win. I think they pulled out. I think the game is extremely close. The Rams, from top to bottom offensively, like you said, Stafford, Kupp, Nacua, Kieran Williams, they're pretty nasty. I think they have potential to give our defense some troubles here. But I think underneath the lights, I think that Soldier Field home field advantage is going to give us that momentum, and I think it's just going to give us a little bit of extra push. Do I think we win? Yes. So I think we win convincingly? No. I think it's going to be very close, but I'm giving us a win on that one.
Okay. Fair enough. So a little bit of a divide there, mainly on lose on. We are going to move on now to the Panthers game. This is going to be an exciting one, right? Soldier Field. Lou, what do you think on this one?
Guaranteed win.
I think
if they don't,
that much to say that
if they don't beat them, then I'm gonna be upset.
That is the middle finger to your GM, because you gave us, what did they give us? We got DJ Moore. They gave us a 2nd-round pick next year. We got Tyreek Stevenson. We essentially got Caleb Williams, all from the most lopsided trade in NFL history. They got fleeced. This is the middle finger to them game, essentially. We win and we blow them the fuck out. I don't even have.
And not to forget, we went to the game last year. Blowout,
yeah.
Okay.
Moving on. London game, technically a home game for us. Jacksonville Jaguars in London, that beautiful 8 a.m. game. What are we thinking, Jacob?
Okay. This is where I think we lose on a sneaky note, because Jacksonville is extremely accustomed to playing out in that time zone. They're playing a few games there this year that are actually considered their home games. And their owner, Shad Khan, wants them to be playing games more frequently out there, because they want it to be, they want the game to branch out, and he really likes it out there. I think the time change might fuck us up, and I think that's why we're going to lose that one. In my heart, if this game was played in the States, I would go with the Bears instantly. But there's just something that's telling me that this could be a sneaky loss that we take that no one would expect us to take. So I'm going to go loss.
And actually, believe it or not, the Jags owner has a contract since they started playing in London. The Jags have played a game in London every season. It's always a home game for them. That's why they always win in London, because they played so many games there. I'm going to have to go loss as well. I think it's going to be a super close game. It's ultimately going to fall on our defense, which a lot of games will. But I got to go loss. I'm at 3-3.
Look at the look on his face, dude.
During the COVID pandemic, when I worked at Foot Locker, okay, a young man and his father came into my store looking at shoes. They were wearing all Bears gear. They said hello to me in the thickest British accent you've ever heard. They flew out for the weekend just to go to the Bears game that weekend, a game I actually went to as well. So we got fans out in London. I also think Jacksonville downgraded offensively. You trade Calvin Ridley for Gabe Davis, the most hot and cold player in the NFL. Yeah, I don't think so. Bears, London, dub. That's what's going to happen in that one.
Fair.
Moving on. Bye week. What do you guys think?
Bye week.
think it's a win. We rest our players. Get right in mentally.
Yeah,
It's a win.
I would agree with that.
Pretty good.
Go to
Can't count
Cabo, go live your life out. Cancun
Relax a
for a
little
few
bit.
days, go
Okay.
get that shit out of your system before we try to make a playoff run.
All right, we got October 27th, week 8, coming back, first game after the bye. Washington Commanders with Jaden Daniels and Austin Eckler added to that team. Jacob, what are you thinking?
W. It's going to be the battle of, Jaden and Caleb. That's going to be the big narrative behind it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't forget about Scary Terry. Like you said, Eckler being added to that team, even Brian Robinson. So it's going to be a nasty two-back scheme that they have. You said this is an away game?
This is away.
Away. I think it'll be pretty close, but I'm gonna give us the win on that one. So.
Okay.
And I'd like to preface, you're probably wondering, where's Minnesota? Where's Detroit? Where's Green Bay? We don't play a division game till week 10.
Yeah, that's great.
That's crazy.
Week 10. So you're going to see a lot of Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay down the stretch, and those might be the most crucial games for us. So, but if we're talking about this game directly, I'm going to say the Chicago Bears. I feel like we have a tougher defense and, also a rookie quarterback, prone to making mistakes. I feel like we make less that day. Let's get a W.
I agree. I'm going to go W. I mean, I know some of you might disagree with this. But, Eckler is not what he used to be last year. He started to show his age a little bit, wasn't really as dynamic. What? Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Take your hand away from that. You know exactly what I'm saying. But yeah, so Austin Eckler, I'm not convinced. I think Brian Robinson is still going to be the main guy at running back for them. So we'll see. But overall, Bears dub.
We also have to remember Austin Eckler in 2022 had how many touchdowns? 20, 21 touchdowns.
A lot of fucking touchdowns.
So we're just
5 in one game, I'm pretty sure.
We're judging the player off one season.
I'm throwing it, dude, because I think he's going to be the lead back in this offense. I think Brian Robinson is going to be a very nice compliment to him, but Eckler in that pass game is still absolutely lethal below 5 yards, bro. His route running is good. He's a little bit older, yes. Did he have a few setbacks in terms of injury last year? 100%, but I still think he needs to be the guy that they feature. I think he needs to be a guy that's there for Jaden Daniels, or Jaden Daniels needs to check down pass. So I think he's going to play a pretty important role in that offense. Do I think he's going to, ultimately he is getting older, but this year I think he still has a lot left in the tank, and I think he's going to give Brian Robinson a run for his money in terms of who's actually the starting running back. So
didn't know I was co-hosting with the Austin Eckler fan club.
Hey,
over
I'm
here.
just calling it how it is, because at the end of the day, Brian Robinson is a dog on the ground, but in terms of all around flexibility as a running back, being able to pass catch and run the ball, I like Eckler. So.
Okay, fair enough. Moving in, week 9, Arizona Cardinals away game. I'm going to start on this one. For me, I think this is going to be a loss. I think this is that game where it's an unsuspecting team. You kind of think who's going to win, but Kyler Murray has one of those amazing games that he always busts out. You can't forget, these guys just added Marvin Harrison Jr. You had the breakout second half of the season last year with Trey McBride at tight end. I think the Cardinals are going to put something together in this game, and I think, sadly, away in Arizona, I think the Bears are going to take the L on this one.
I'm the exact opposite. I think we're blowing the Cardinals out. I'm sorry, but
Okay.
Kyler Murray, if he
Whoa.
makes it to that game, their defense is garbage. The Cardinals' defense is terrible. I think this is a game where we see Caleb Williams truly show us what he's got. 300 yards, 2 touchdown passes, maybe 1 ran in. I think this is a game where you're gonna be happy that you're watching Bears football.
Okay, Jacob.
Yeah, this is crazy. I already have them at 5 wins, and I'm going to take this one as a win too to move up to a 6-2 record right now. When just a few weeks ago we had this same discussion, and I had them for like 9 wins top. So I don't know if it's like confirmation bias of what's going on, if I'm looking at this from a different light. But to answer the question in terms of the game, I think they're going to win that game. Really curious to see what Marvin Harrison pans out to be in the NFL. Should be, a top 10 receiver from what people think he's going to be.
Definitely.
Haven't seen him really take many snaps yet. I do think Kyler is actually a pretty good quarterback, other than the fact that he's a little short sometimes and he makes some questionable throws. But I think, outside the pocket, he's really nice. He's a really good runner, slides, gets down, tries to prevent injury a lot. But like you were talking about, their defense is it's
atrocious.
So I think we win that one. Like I echo what Lou said. I think Caleb has fucking stellar game. So,
Okay. We all have the same record right now, just different losses. All right.
6-2, right?
I think I'm at 5-3.
You're at 5-3?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's at
You're
5-3. I'm at 6-2.
Because you took the Rams.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. Well, Jacob and I, we're in the same.
Yeah, we're 6-2, and then they'll lose it for 5-3.
Moving forward, I mean, I don't think we need to spend too much time on this one. Week 10, home game, playing the New England Pats. It's a win.
There's really nothing to say there, right?
Nothing to
I
say,
don't even
really.
think,
I
I don't
mean,
even think they know who their starting quarterback is going to be yet.
I'd rather play Joe Milton than Drake May, personally. I mean,
I think it's Brissett.
Yeah, they announced. I think they're
Yeah?
leaning towards
Like
Brissett
Brissett
to
week
start the
one.
year because they're saying that May is more of a project than they thought
Yeah.
he was going to be.
oh, he's going to be, definitely.
And you can see that in the preseason that May is just he feels almost uncomfortable as compared to like Jaden Daniels
Yeah.
and Caleb who are comfortable enough to get outside of the pocket, make some risky throws. He's ultimately making the smart, yet very low average yard throws, the
Yeah.
check downs, just not trying to risk it for the job. And I really feel like that's what New England's seeing. And especially coming off of no Bill Belichick this year,
True.
you got to make the right choices.
Can't forget that.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're all going to go W on that one.
It's
Now,
just kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy how Drake May was what he wore number 10 out of North Carolina.
Yeah.
He's kind of looking like
looking like Mitch. That's why I
he's kind
never
of looking
liked
like
him.
another guy that we know all too familiar.
That is why I never liked that guy in the first place, man. UNC quarterbacks, I stay away now, bro.
They're just not playing the level of talent. Like these guys like Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels, they're playing in the SEC. They're playing in the Big Ten. They're playing, well, USC is now Big Ten, but they were still playing very marketable,
Playing in the big games.
impressive college teams, and they were competing. When you see UNC play in the ACC, they're not playing impressive teams, and they're not winning by huge margins.
Clemson, that's about it, really. Yeah.
Like Mitch Trubisky only started 11 games,
Something like that.
13 games in college.
and didn't even win his own bowl game.
No.
The single bowl game he was in.
No.
See that happen sometimes.
Moving on,
We're going all
Week
double.
11, home game, Green Bay Packers. Their first face-off, Caleb Williams versus Jordan Love in Soldier Field. Blue, what do you think's going to happen with this one?
It's a real tough call, man. This one's real
This is when
tough.
we get into the nitty gritty.
Just because you have to evaluate what the Packers did last year, and I'm going to say loss. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say loss because they added a lot of pieces, the Packers. And Jordan Love, I feel like he's taking a step up into that echelon of elite quarterbacks. Not saying that they can't get him in Lambeau later on in the season. I'm going to take this one as a loss, though.
Okay. Me personally, I'm going to also agree. I think this is going to be a loss. I think that first meeting, I think it will be a pretty defense-heavy game. I mean, these guys added Xavier McKinney. They're going to test our receivers. You know, they were having their little meetings over there knowing that we were ready to cook something up. And it's going to be a battle. I'm going to give them a loss on this one. A little heartbreak for the fans.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm going to go loss too. I say this because for some reason, every Bears quarterback, the first time they play against the Packers in their career, just always absolute dog shit. Now, do I think Caleb will be different? Yes. But I think he needs to learn what this rivalry truly means, and I think he's going to get flustered in this game. Even if it is at Soldier, I mean, we've been dominated by this team for how many fucking years now, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's why it hates me to have to take a loss on this one. But I think when he gets thrown into the fire, he's going to become kind of flustered for a little bit. Jordan Love has pretty much played against a majority of this defense for the most part. And he, quite frankly, they found another one. It's absolutely crazy that we don't have a 4,000-yard passer in our franchise, and they have they have two Hall of Famers, and they have another guy who's getting paid the highest quarterback contract annually in the league now. So I think I'm going to mark this down as a loss with you guys.
Yeah.
I think Caleb learns from it a lot, and then they come back and
What's the date on that game?
November 17th.
And Caleb's going to have to get used to playing in the cold. It's not going to come naturally.
it's the first divisional game too, and divisional games are always different because no matter how bad a team is in your division, how good you think they are, it's always going to be a close game regardless. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Moving on after that, week 12, we got a home game against the Vikings. I'm going to go dub.
Yeah.
I mean, them losing JJ, I mean, I feel like they were leaning on him to be the starter. I just don't think that team has, especially on the defensive side of the ball at this point. They lost to Neil Hunter. They lost some key players at linebacker. I mean, I'm going to say Bears dub.
There's also potential for a Jordan Addison suspension possibly this season.
Yep.
So I don't think they would have stood much chance with J.J. McCarthy. I just don't think they made a lot of moves this season to become a better team, almost as if they're doing a little stepping back and, try and player develop more with all the young pieces. I'm going to go win. Should be an easy one.
Do you really think that JJ was going to be the starter over Darnold, though, if he stayed healthy?
I think that eventually they were going to go with JJ.
I agree.
Eventually.
Yeah, I think they would have won over at some point, but I think Darnold probably would have started the season.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a win on this one, too. It's looking really bleak for the Vikings team. I mean, other than Jettas and, Hawkinson, too. I mean, we can't forget about
He's
Aaron
still coming
Jones.
off that
We can't forget about Aaron Jones either, So
Aaron Jones dominates the Bears.
they've added some pretty good pieces. Though I think we're going to win, yes. So I think this game is going to be way closer than what people think. Yes, I do.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're all going to win here, but I think it's going to be pretty close.
So Lions on Thanksgiving. I'm going to go dub on this one. The Lions just historically play horrible on Thanksgiving. And I think the Bears have the perfect team to kind of take these guys out.
Is this home or away?
This is going to be away. This is in Detroit on Thanksgiving.
I'm going to go another loss, sadly.
God,
Detroit's coming off of it. Last year they won. Last year they actually won on Thanksgiving, believe it or not. Away games, especially these divisional late in the season where we're going to actually have something to play for, are going to be really tough, and they're going to put a lot of stress on the chemistry of our offense. Can my opinion change? 100%. If Caleb goes out there and dominates against some of these teams like the Rams, some of these teams, Jacksonville, definitely. My mind can definitely change. But as of right now, I think Detroit playing at home, Caleb's first time in Detroit. It's going to be Thanksgiving. There's going to be a lot of Detroiters there. I'm going to mark it a loss. It's going to be a super close game. I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm teetering. I'm going to go L as well. It's
Okay.
just big primetime game. Like I said, do I feel like this is the one game in my schedule I could have completely wrong and it can completely go the other way? Yeah. Something about this Lions team, man. We talked about it all last year with the Gibbs and Montgomery, 2 running back formation they got going on with Amon-Ra. I think Jameson Williams is going to take a really big step as well. It should be a fairly interesting game. Going to be fun to watch with the fam on Thanksgiving because what's better than fucking turkey legs?
I love football.
Turkey legs and football on Thanksgiving.
I'm going hard.
But I think it's going to be an L in one way or another. In terms of what I think the score will be, I don't know. I think it's going to be closer than what we think, but 27-20, I would say Detroit if I had to pick.
Okay. Nearing the end here, a few games left. Week 14, away game, San Francisco 49ers. Jacob.
I'm going L. I'm going to go L. They have just too many pieces, man. It's looking like they're going to re-sign Ayuk too. Granted, our defense is, I'm not going to say they're foolproof. They're pretty damn good. But I think just all of the skill players that San Francisco has, it's just going to be too much to handle. I think Brock Purdy is put in a really good situation by Kyle Shanahan to be a really good systematic quarterback, which he has been. Made a few mistakes in the Super Bowl, but all losing quarterbacks do. I think it's going to be a really tough game, but I think we take an L on that one. So I'm going to go loss.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say L as well. Bringing back a tough defense for San Francisco. You always got Shanahan's scheme. It's Brock Purdy. These guys have a lot of chemistry together. They put it on a lot of people last year, and I don't think things are going to change much, especially bringing CMC back. I'm going to have to go loss on this one as well.
So for me, I'm going to say loss, but it can switch to a dub if we see Brandon Ayuk leave this team. I think Brandon Ayuk potentially leaving the Niners, that's a huge chip in the armor, and it takes away an option for a guy like Purdy. So I will go with L on that one, though. I agree.
Okay.
So week 15, Minnesota Vikings away game. This is a Monday Night Football.
I'm going to go W. I think we sweep the Vikings this year. We've always had pretty, wishy-washy games against them in the past where we usually win one, they'll win one. I know the games last year were kind of shit with the whole quarterback situation with Dobbs and Bajent and all that. But like I said, I think they're really on a rough path this year, not having J.J. McCarthy, not really having a solidified quarterback. Darnold might be able to impress here. I think he's going to consistently keep it up all year. No, I think we win. I think we win that one pretty convincingly on Monday night. Prime time, and everyone sees what Caleb is really made of. Because, I mean, we have that first prime time on Sunday against the Texans. We have that other primetime game on Thanksgiving against the Lions, but I think week 14 he's going to be really polished, really ready to go. Man's not afraid of the lights. I think he's going to shine on Monday Night Football. So I'm going to give us a win on that one.
Took the words out of my mouth. I'm going to agree with Jacob on that one.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing. I just think we're too much for them. A lot of talent. They're depleted. And this is going to be second half of the season. I would be surprised if they're even in playoff contention. Could be a good chance they're selling a lot of their good players at the trade deadline.
I agree.
Yeah.
Moving forward, Week 16, home game, December 22nd, Detroit Lions.
This is where we get our revenge.
Yeah.
You didn't like the L before, but we're at home this time. Caleb's played almost a full season. I would be surprised if we weren't in a position to grab a wild card spot, even if Green Bay is balling out this year. I think we're going to be in contention for playoffs, and I think it's going to matter, and Caleb's going to step up.
I agree. I'm going to go with a dub for that one, too.
I'm going to go with an L. I think, and here is my thinking behind it. Over past few seasons, our offensive line has had trouble staying healthy. I think they're going to be. I mean, trust me. The last thing I want is for any of our offensive linemen to be hurt. I think there's going to be some injuries later on in that season that are going to force them to play backups, and I think Detroit's just their pass rush is just going to get to us at some points. And I mean, we got to talk about Detroit's offensive line as well. I mean, cool, we have Sweat coming off that edge, but we have a lot of questions with Dexter. We still need to see what Booker's going to be. We need to solidify that other defensive end spot. So I think they're going to have Goff's going to have a lot of time in the pockets to really cook. So I'm going to give us 2 losses against the Lions on the season.
Okay. I mean, that's a little ridiculous. I mean, I'm questioning who you are. But all right, moving on. Day after Christmas, 2 games left in the season. This is a Thursday night football. Other game I'm going to this season, actually. Shout out to TJ and my fiance Sam. We watch Thursday night football together every Thursday. So obviously we got to go to the Thursday night football game live. It's against my second favorite team, the Seattle Seahawks. You know, I lived in Washington for a short period of time. The Seahawks have a great team, man. In my opinion, their offense pretty solidified. I mean, Geno Smith, I think he's a solid quarterback. I like the fact that he's an underdog and has kind of risen up to the top and earned a contract, earned a starting spot. Kenneth Walker, great running back. Zach Charbonnet got some good experience last year. And then the 3-headed monster, you got Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and you got Jackson Smith and Jigba. Throw Noah Fant in there at tight end. I think it's going to be a tough game. But I'm going to say the Bears come out on top against
So you were going to pick the Seahawks there. I was going to tell Lou to throw that flag so fast, dude.
No, I'm going to go Bears. Okay. But the Seahawks have weapons. Like, we can't deny that, you know. But it's going to be a good game. Bears.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this one's going to be another very close one. I do think we win this just based on our defensive strength. Get Geno flustered, especially Geno, who's coming into a new system, new offensive coordinator. I think it might be very hard for them to score. I could see them only putting up 14, 17 points and us coming away just because we got a tougher offense. We got more dynamic offense. Although, as you said, I do think it's going to be close. Seattle's defensive line and linebackers aren't the best, but you have to give them respect in the secondary.
Absolutely.
Tariq Woolen. They got, what's the gentleman
Spoon,
from?
baby.
Yeah, Witherspoon from
baby.
U of
Come
I.
on.
He's a dog.
They're a tough team, but I do think we're going to get this one.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'll go with you guys on that. I'm gonna give us a dub on that as well. You said what, Thursday night game?
Thursday night.
So yeah, I think, you know, like you said, in terms of secondary, they got a lot of really speedy guys. I think this could be a game where our run game shows lots of really good promise with Swift and Herbert coming out of the backfield. I think we kind of make it work on the ground game. And then I think our defense steps up in a really big situation where it's not necessarily a must-win depending on what happens with other teams. But if we're fighting for that wild card spot, I definitely think it's a big game for us, and I think we'll win that one as well. So go with you guys on that.
All right.
I know what the last one is.
Guys, the last one. Week 18. Playoffs potentially on the line for both teams here. At home, Chicago Bears versus Green Bay at Soldier Field. Jacob, final game of the season. What do you think happens,
I'm
man?
going to go to win. I think he learns from the first game that we have. He comes back, super rough Mamba mentality. Like I said, last game of the season, fighting for the playoffs. I think this is where Caleb shines best. This is when the lights are the brightest. I think we get a win on that one, and I think Bears fans rejoice that we finally are able to. Well, what my record's looking at, I have an 11-6 record right now, which means that we should, no question, be in the playoffs. And we have a quarterback that is throwing for over 4,000 yards, 35-plus touchdowns. We have a rookie receiver that has almost 1,000 yards on the season. I think everything is just looking up at this point, and it's just the nail in the coffin to finally knock out this Packers team. And I'm not going to say knock out of the playoffs, but finally get a much-needed dub against them at home. So
It's a loss. I don't want to say loss. I don't want to go out on that note. I just think the Packers are a very tough team, very underestimated team. Their receiving core is a lot better than a lot of people give them credit for. I think that we are very flustered when we play the Packers, and especially when we play the Packers at home. It's a very, I apologize. This is in Lambeau, isn't it?
This is at Soldier Field.
Oh, this is at Soldier Field? Oh, yeah, we struggle when we play the Packers at home. And it's a sad reality that I hope changes in the future, but I think if there's any sort of playoff contention on the line and we have a shot, it's going to be very hard for Caleb to play against our rival team.
How do you sleep at night?
Comfortable, like a baby.
You could have fooled me because I got news for you. It's going to be real uncomfortable when you're watching this episode, week 18, and Jacob and I were right. Oh, yeah, you do. Huh?
I hope they win. I'm a diehard.
Then you should
Bear.
be manifesting it. Then you should be saying, yeah, we're going to win the game 100%. We're going to destroy them.
You can speak from realism to a point.
Dontavian Wicks is going to fall and break his ankles.
So we're wishing injury on players?
I just want to let you guys know. I just want to let you guys know that me and Lou, that's not, I don't wish injuries upon any player. Okay, I don't know why.
I don't, but when it happens, I'm not upset.
That's foul.
That's cruelty, bro. That's cruel.
Bro. You can't be wishing fucking someone tears.
I don't wish it, but if it happens,
I've never.
It happens. It happens.
You know what I mean?
I've never said that. In
you
my
have
life.
to cheer at home. Go do that at home.
We don't want to bring up the football story, okay? So let's all We got
that story is for.
All right, hey, let's get back on track. Let's get back on track.
All right, so let's see. So Jacob, what was your final record?
11-6.
Okay.
I'm at 10-7, but I still think it's a really good record for a rookie quarterback.
What are you at?
I only got 4 losses.
So you're at 13-4.
13-4. I think that's our ceiling.
Wow.
I can't say I didn't see you getting to that point.
13-4.
If that
100%.
happens, well, hell yeah, let's do it.
So you got him at 10 wins. I got him at 11. You got him at 13.
13.
So I mean, we all have them over double digits, and right now their win line in the season's at 8.5. So we all should probably throw some.
Just
coin.
wait until best bets. Trust me, we're gonna be throwing some fatties on
We
that
should throw
one.
some coin on that. But
Absolutely,
boys, I think we're at the home stretch. I think we're at the home stretch. David, you want to let the people know what we got planned for next week?
Man, dude. First off, to all the Chiesty boys and girls, welcome back to the Chiesty Boys Podcast. So excited to be out here doing the show. Shout out to our people in the back over there, Josh, Jacob, for helping us do this. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Lou for joining us, bringing Chiesty Boys back. Next week, something really cool. We have been, for the past 2 years, in a fantasy football league with some close family, some friends, called the Famba Jamba League. We're going to be doing our Famba Jamba draft on the following episode next week. So that's going to be really exciting. We have a lot of good stuff coming your way. Obviously, more content coming. We're going to be introducing best bets, fantasy football, and stuff. So it's going to be exciting stuff. Can't wait to show all of you what we got cooking.
So yeah, I mean, I think he stated it pretty well. It's been a pleasure to be back. It's been a pleasure to get things up and going again. Really look forward to bringing a lot of new content to you, like David said. Really excited to have my man here on the set with us. We're definitely going to make things happen. David, anything else you got to say to the people?
Bear down.
Chiesty Boys. Out.